Writer, director, cinematographer Travis Pearson is known for his popular film, America Street, and now it's out on Amazon Prime. I sit down one-on-one with Travis for a special edition of Quentin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quentin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio. Travis Pearson.
Yes, sir.
It's so good to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Same here.
Oh,
Same here.
I appreciate this greatly. Obviously, you wrote and directed, and obviously you're the cinematographer of The America Street.
Yes.
And it was a film that you released many years ago.
Yes.
But just recently, on February 22nd, it was released on Amazon Prime.
It was. It was.
What is it like to be you these days?
It's been pretty good. I mean, I can't complain. I have a great wife, great family.
Yeah.
3 kids. As for film,
Yes.
we just finished. Like I said, we just it's available for the public. It was a long road trying to find a distributor for it. Right now, the market is so saturated. I went the independent route, like John Cassavetes, one of my heroes in cinematography as a director. So that's what I did. Just did a film short last year called I was the director of photography or the cinematographer for that. We shot in Harlem last year. So right now that's going through the festival. About last week or 2 weeks ago, it was at the Pan-African Film Festival in LA. So, and it's going to be here at the Charleston Film Festival in March. So, next week.
That's right.
Oh, 2 weeks from
2
now.
weeks from now. Yeah. You talk about that long road getting to where you want to be as far as America Street and this film being on Amazon Prime. I'm wondering, how many stops did you have to take to get to where you are now?
Oh, as filmmaker?
As far as getting America Street onto Amazon Prime.
Well, it took, of course, this is my directorial debut, my first film. I've done film shorts, worked on PBS specials and stuff like that, commercials, but this is my directorial debut, so I'm very excited about it. It was a long road, writing the screenplay, trying to, take a page out of Cassavetes' book in a way of trying to use skilled actors with non-actors. So, and trying to tell the story of Charleston, an aspect of Charleston.
Aspect. What is that aspect now?
Well, it's kind of hard here as a filmmaker, as an African American filmmaker, to tell our stories because it's hard to get funding for the most part. So, it's a bit of a struggle, but, you got to just keep on, pushing through for the most part.
Most part. I want to go back to America Street, the film you created many years ago. And it was Shoot to Kill Cinema that wrote this about this particular film, America Street. It says this: a gritty, well-made drama with honest performances that seeks to celebrate and indict aspects of not only Charleston life, but American society. America Street is replete with its hypocrisies, injustices, and confusion. Can I break that down a little bit? A gritty, well-made drama with honest performance that seeks to celebrate and indict aspects of not only Charleston life, but American society.
Yes.
How does America Street meet American society these days?
Well, for the most part, America Street, this is the first. My dream is to make it into a series. The thing is, Charleston being the, America Street being the microcosm of, of America and, in a greater whole, in the sense that, we're dealing with gentrification as African Americans, as well as dealing with mass incarceration, which the film is about. It's about a young man who was in prison. While he was in prison, he was attacked and caused him to be a mute. And now he's faced to try to reacclimate himself in society. And he finds out that he has a son. and he has to communicate with his son, as well as find his voice in a sense, in making his way through society. So yeah, I mean, I think it speaks of Charleston, but it speaks for America as a whole.
Let me take you to America Street. You shot that particular film, and obviously it's been out there for a while. What does America Street mean to you these days?
Well, America Street means a lot. The reason why, what inspired me to make the film was I was reading Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow. That was pretty much the genesis for it. And then finding out that America Street, for a long time, Charleston was the only place in America that had a street named after America. And finding out that, learning the history, that primarily this was the Black Quarter in Charleston for a minute. So I really wanted to, I wanted to shed light to that, and bring that to attention to a lot of people here in this, in the city. It's a lot of history, as well as it's a cornerstone, because I think the name America Street, meaning that, pretty much like Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York,
Right.
Because it starts, with individuals, and then the group becomes a government in a sense. I'm feeling a little, I hope that makes sense. It's kind of, that's the best way I can articulate it right now, but yeah.
And, I want to go back to that Charleston City Paper article from many years ago. It says this, and you just touched on this just recently. For Pearson, America Street is about more than the area's high crime history. It's about human stories like that of the protagonist, Bucks. As you mentioned, Pearson's America Street follows Bucks, played by Jason West, a man who, after losing his tongue in a prison attack, is released from jail and discovers he has a son, Chris. If you were to go back to America Street right now, what stories are like that similar to this one?
Well, it's symbolic for the most part. The reason why he's not able to speak, talking about the voicelessness of African American males, and feeling like they have to find their voice and trying to be heard, and that is symbolic in a sense. Another thing is that to answer your question. I feel that a lot of people here in the city are not being, it's just now that, we've always had a sense, and, we admire and kind of honor the Gullah Geechee community,
Yes.
But now it's starting to be more celebrated. And I think that's due to the fact, almost have a crossover effect, and that's due to the fact of the social media. And how it's becoming more, the consciousness in the community is starting to become more to the point that the sensitivity of and understanding the value of what this culture is and how much it's contributed to the city, in a sense, because not just in the tourism, but in the flavor, similar to in New Orleans.
Yes.
I just think we need to celebrate it more, and hopefully, I get a chance to, with this new film that I'm working on, to be able to do it some more, bring point to it.
And I understand, obviously, you just talked a little bit about it, but in your mind, what is the state of the Gullah Geechee culture right now?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I just wish there were more recognition. I just think we need. I wish the city would have more, pay more attention and reverence to what the Gullah Geechee means to the city. I'm thinking back, like what Julie Dash did with Daughters of the Dust. It's just, I wanted to be another continue. Hopefully, I'll be able. This film. Not. To,
Oh yes,
I'm trying to get it to that level
Yes.
of reverence. And to I mean, just not just romanticize, but to share how much this means to the to the community. I just wish that more people would, take the time to study more about the Gullah community and the Gullah Geechee history, and understand that it's not just Black history, but American history. And to be able to, watch films like Julie Dash's Daughter of the Dutch, so they can have a deep appreciation for what it means, not just for African American, but Caucasian communities,
And obviously, when you talk about the community and you look around America Street, a lot of people say there's a huge part of gentrification going on there.
Yes.
When you look at gentrification, how do you define it, particularly on Charleston's east side?
It breaks my heart because you're losing. I personally feel like you're losing. Not just not to use the word soul, but the spirit of Charleston, because on the America Street page, I put videos of Charleston in 1968 as well as 1930 to give them, to give the people an idea of the culture and the history of this city, and to understand how it's changed so drastically, and in the way of, unfortunately, I don't want this city to change and lose what, people spend hundreds of dollars to travel here to see, because it's not just the architecture, it's the people that give life to the buildings. And once you lose the people, then you lose the spirit of the city, because the architecture is just a wall, but it's the people who's going to be able to speak and tell these people, to share the stories that, are untold for the most part.
You talk about stories and people. I have to ask this. It might be just an obvious question, but when you think of America Street, what is that one particular person in their story that still plays in your mind today?
Oh, in the film?
Yes.
I just think the main character, the Bucks character, speaks so much to me because he's, he symbolizes so much in the sense of what African Americans males feel. In one sense, one of the slogans we had, people wearing T-shirts, "I am America, I am street."
Right.
It's almost a schizophrenic type of thing. The reason why Kaepernick, took a knee is that we want, we're told that we're Americans, but we're not treated as such. So, a lot of people take that, a lot of African American males use that as a badge of honor, like, I'm street, and, if I'm going to be painted as a street or a thug, so I'm going to, or like in the Tupac sense, thug life type of philosophy. A lot of people identify with that philosophy, and they're trying to marry the two ideas in their or philosophies in their mind. For the most part, I'm hoping that makes sense because I feel like I'm rambling, but
go for it.
Yeah, but for the most part, yeah, that was the thought process in writing the story, writing his character, and the exposition of the story from his point of view, and to mirror that with his brother, his younger brother, who's basically trying to be like him in a sense, the hyper masculinity going on and stuff like that. But yeah.
And you talked earlier about Charleston then and now. What was America Street back then versus now in your mind?
Back then, the one thing I just think now it's more of people not being afraid to share their thoughts and feelings and the ideas of the city. I feel that the sensitivity level is starting to become much better in the sense that, in a sense that, I always say this, but I'll say it again, that, like everything pretty much is called plantation, this Glendale plantation, all these subdivisions and stuff like that. But you would never call it, a concentration camp, and there's no difference between a concentration camp and a plantation. And I think the sensitivity level, in a sense, has changed here because people are understanding that they're seeing it from our eyes, from an African American perspective, more so than a European perspective in the city of Charleston, because the story always been one-sided in a sense, I felt. Hopefully we'll be able to share our story.
And when you look at America Street from now to, say, 20, 30 years from now, what do you want that perspective to be?
I wanted to be a time capsule to understand, from the music, from the language that they speak, I try to shoot it almost like a verite type of style, almost documentary style, so people can feel like there's eavesdropping in something that normally they wouldn't have a chance to see, or be too afraid to take the chance to see. For the most part.
That's right. For the most part. Let me turn to your future. Obviously, you're working on a tremendous project right now.
Yeah.
But if you were to, say, create a movie about your future, what would the title be?
About me?
Your future, yes, sir.
What would the title be? Student. Constantly learning. Just a student. The name of my film company is called Avidya, which means Sanskrit for ignorance, because we're more in the state of not knowing than knowing. So I've always wanted to constantly be learning, being aware, seeing it from a different perspective. That's what gravitated me to film. So I would say student. Student.
That brings me to my next question. What do you know now about America Street that you didn't know when you first started doing film?
What I learned in the process is that mostly it's the history. I had an idea, but the details is what you want to learn. Is what I learned was the details. Learning individuals, and not just in that area, right, but also in North Charleston too.
Right.
Just because a lot of us people were being pushed out due to the gentrification into North Charleston. So for the most part, yeah, I learned the details. I learned the details of the city, personal stories for the most part, and that's my goal, is to try to keep on continually tell those stories.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, the Honorable Travis Pearson, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
All right.
Yes, sir.